Hello and welcome to Joy-Con Cast episode 20. I'm your host Nicholas. This week we're discussing yet another great pre-Black Friday Nintendo Switch deal, Nintendo's third quarter earnings, how you can preload Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield, Razer's answer to potential Joy-Con for smartphones, Nintendo bringing more 3DS titles to Switch, and more. This week we're also going to discuss Luigi's Mansion 3. I've had a little bit of time playing that so far. I want to share my very early first impressions on the game. But without further ado, let's jump right into the news. The first thing is another great Nintendo Switch deal. So last week there was a Nintendo Switch V2, the red box Switch, with the updated chipset to give it a better battery life. That went on sale for, I believe, around $280, $260, something around that ballpark. I don't believe that sale is live anymore, but there is another great Switch deal for the red box Switch at Walmart. For $329, you're getting the new generation Switch, as well as a game of your choice and a case, all for $329. Now, this is a pretty good deal because the Switch goes for obviously $300. So for an extra $29, you're getting a carrying case and a game for an extra $29, which is not bad at all. It's actually a really great deal. Now, this deal is available at Walmart, and the bundle includes your choice of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Mario Odyssey, Splatoon 2, Breath of the Wild, or Super Mario Party. So those are the choices of the games that you can get with your bundle. And in addition, you can also get a USB Type-C to HDMI converter and micro SD card slots. So it's a little HDMI converter thing that has slots for SD cards, and that's pretty much it. For $329, you're essentially getting a free game, as well as the case. It's really not a bad deal at all. So if you're looking for it for the Switch as a Christmas gift or for yourself, that's probably the best deal that I've seen for the Switch in a while. That's probably the best deal that we'll see even come Black Friday. So that would I say is probably one of the top-notch tiers as far as like sales that we've seen for the Switch. So I definitely hop on that. Again, you can get that at Walmart, and that is the new red box Switch. Obviously, last week the Switch Lite was rumored to be around $150 for Black Friday. So Nintendo's been doing pretty good with the deals. Nintendo doesn't do a lot of deals on their consoles or games. Games like Breath of the Wild that released 3 years ago are still going for that $60 price tag. Obviously, the Switch is still going for $300. And by now, a lot of other consoles, a lot of other games in general would be heavily reduced. Even games like God of War that released maybe only a year after, or not even God of War, but Horizon Zero Dawn came out literally around the same week as Breath of the Wild. And that game has long been like $30. I've even seen it $20 at some places. That was a PS4 exclusive back in 2017. That game has long been $30. Even God of War, which released a year after Breath of the Wild, I already see that game going for $25, $30 some places. So yeah, Nintendo rarely does deals or discounts or sales of any nature. So definitely hop on them when they are live because they are very rare, and they're usually pretty good when they do sales, but not very common. Next up, Nintendo's third quarter earnings are out, and between July and September, we've seen a year-on-year increase of over 50% for the Nintendo Switch. 41.67 million units have shipped in total as of September 30th, which puts the Switch very close to SNES sales worldwide. So right now, the Switch is at 41.67 million. So right now, this Switch, like I said, is at 41.67 million systems for lifetime sales, while the SNES was approximately 49.1 million. So we're pretty close. Nintendo's pretty close to surpassing, the SNES. They need roughly 7.43 million more sales to pass. And honestly, like I said, there was a 50% increase from last year around the same period. And with games like Link's Awakening, Fire Emblem, Luigi's Mansion just came out, Pokemon's on its way, Animal Crossing, I could easily see this game, or I could easily see this system surpassing that sale, maybe even by the end of this year, maybe by the end of next spring, most definitely, especially with Animal Crossing. I feel like there's definitely going to be a huge increase in sales around Animal Crossing. And in other news, just kind of a quick brief update, a quick brief announcement. Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield are now downloadable on Nintendo eShop. You can now preload the games on the eShop. So if you pre-purchase them from the eShop, you can now preload them so that when they do launch, you're ready to go. They're ready to be played. I am curious if there will be a demo this time around. Nintendo actually, I think since maybe X and Y or S maybe, Nintendo's actually been doing demos for the Pokemon games on the eShop. So I'm wondering if we're going to get a demo either before the release, or sometimes they'll even do one after. I want to say, did they do one for Let's Go? They might have done a demo for Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I'm not too sure. I don't remember that, but the games are now preloadable. I am wondering if we'll ever see a demo. I'm sure at some point. Nintendo sometimes likes to do a demo even after launch, even after release. They like to release a demo, so if you didn't pick it up right away, maybe now you want to give it a shot and play around with it a little bit. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, there's no demo as of right now. So the game launches in 15 days? I believe it launches in 15. Or no, I think it launches on the 18th? No, it does launch on the 15th. I was looking at October. It does launch on November 15th. I'm pretty sure. And so yeah, 15 days until the game launches. So if you want to preload that now, go ahead. I'll probably have to hop on that pretty soon. You have plenty of time to buy the game and get it downloaded. So that's that. But the game is now preloadable if that caters to you. Next up, something that I want to talk about for a little bit. I feel like I think I talked about this before. Different phone manufacturers for a while now have been targeting their phones against Nintendo Switch, comparing the two: screen resolution, refresh rates, the size of the phone, the battery life, stuff like that. And I believe Huawei did this. I want to say it was Huawei. They compared their phone to the Nintendo Switch, comparing the battery life and the screen resolution and stuff like that. And Razer has recently unveiled new Bluetooth controllers that slide onto a compatible case for your phone and essentially act like Joy-Con for your smartphone. Now, Razer has announced cases for 5 different phones: the Razer Phone 2, the Samsung Galaxy Note 9, and the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus in the US. And then it looks like in the rest of the world, you can get a Huawei P30 Pro case instead of the Note 9. So it's not compatible for every single phone. You obviously need this case in which these Joy-Con-like controllers slide onto. But it looks like they're pretty popular phones. I mean, it's the latest Galaxy flagship, latest Note flagship, and then the Razer phone. So as far as Android goes, they're missing quite a bit. But I'm sure as time goes on, they'll probably announce cases compatible for other phones out there. But if you don't have any of these phones compatible with this case, you can get a bridge that connects them together so you can still play with these controllers, like an actual controller with your phone. So basically, the Joy-Cons that slide into the little puppy dog, um, you know, controller type thingy McJibby. I don't know what it was called, but basically you slide it into this bridge and it acts like a standard controller. We've seen this with the Joy-Cons. They shipped with the little, you know what I'm talking about, the little thing that you slide the Joy-Cons into so it looks like a real controller. That's essentially what this bridge is. And it does look like Joy-Cons. They do look like, a controller sawed in half, and you have two different ones that you can have in either hand. So you charge them over USB-C. However, Razer says you can expect 100 plus hours of gameplay on a charge, which is pretty decent. The Joy-Cons and the Pro Controller for Switch have insane amounts of battery life as well. So I'm glad to see that Razer matched at least the battery performance on their end. But I feel like I've talked about mobile gaming versus handheld gaming in the past, and to me, mobile gaming to handheld gaming is the same thing as handheld gaming to console gaming. They are pretty different overall. Mobile gaming, usually, most games that you find on the Google Play Store or iOS are going to be free to play games with in-app purchases and lots of methods of grinding or timers, or you have to wait for this, or you can spend $10 right now and speed up the process, or get orbs, or get gems, or get whatever in-game currency. And you're not really getting a full, robust experience like you would on Switch or on a console. You're getting lesser games on mobile. You're not going to get games like The Witcher on mobile. You're not even going to get games like Overwatch or The Outer Worlds or Wolfenstein or, Zelda or Mortal Kombat. You're not really going to get those full experiences on mobile. Now, as of late, mobile games have kind of been stepping up. I've actually been playing the Call of Duty game on mobile, and it is actually pretty good. It does feel probably the closest to an actual console Call of Duty game on mobile. It does feel really good to play. It's actually quite a bit of fun. But still, you're lacking a big screen, you're lacking proper controls. Usually these games that are more realistic or more comparable to their console counterpart are battery hogs. And yeah, we've seen solutions from Razer. Obviously, they have the Razer Phone 2, which is a gaming phone. Better speakers, a much bigger battery life, a bigger screen with a faster refresh rate. Basically a solution to gaming on a smartphone, and probably one of the best ways to game on a smartphone if that's your cup of tea. But still, a lot of these experiences that you're getting use touchscreen controls. They hog your battery life, and like I said, they're not anywhere near a proper console or even a handheld game. So comparing a game that I can play on a smartphone to something I play on a Switch, yeah, I'm sure games in some sense perform better on a $1,000 smartphone compared to a $300 console, but at the same time, that's a smartphone. You're working with less than what the Switch offers in reality. Switch offers a much better experience for handheld gaming for games like The Witcher or Overwatch or Zelda, whereas on smartphone, you can play games like that, but they're watered down, they're usually lesser versions, they're not as robust, they don't offer as much gameplay. So it's kind of a hard battle. It's kind of a weird way to compare your device, but I mean, we've seen games do really well on smartphone, especially gacha games. Japan, China love mobile games. They love the gacha games, and we've seen a lot of game companies like Blizzard, for example, taking their most popular IPs, bringing them over to mobile. I think we've seen this from EA as well. Bring them to mobile, incorporate, gotcha elements or in-app purchases, or more time that you have to spend in the game, more grinding you have to do, more chances that you'll drop $1 or $2 to speed up the process. And it's a great, quick way for companies to earn some money. And there is an audience for mobile games that I believe. Definitely not me, but there is an audience for it. So I can understand why we've seen companies like Razer continue to push mobile gaming and continue to push phones that are capable of doing proper mobile gaming, and also see accessories like these. They're called the Jungle Cats, I believe. Yes, the Jungle Cats. And they're $99, by the way. So these are significantly more than Joy-Con. However, they are, as of right now, they can only slide onto so many phones and actually use as a handheld. But they do use Bluetooth. So chances are any phone would be supported as long as it has Bluetooth. You can, even on iPhone, you can connect them, I'm sure, as a Bluetooth controller like the PS4 and Xbox controllers, and use them just fine. But $99 is pretty pricey. I thought Joy-Cons were expensive, but for $99, kind of a pricey thing. But it is interesting. I don't know how many people want to carry around additional controllers for their phone. I think the whole point of mobile gaming is the ease of just pulling out your phone and playing games at your fingertips. If you're going to bring additional controllers and headphones and all these extra accessories for you on the go, at that point, why not just get a Switch or a proper gaming handheld that has more in-depth games to be offered? I don't know. It is kind of interesting, though, and we've seen it grow in popularity. There are obviously a lot of people who do play mobile games and mobile games only, and not just games like, the gotcha games or the Candy Crush type generic games, but, actual mobile games. And there are some pretty decent games out there available on mobile that aren't just grind fests. They're usually hard to come by, but they are out there. And like I said, there are some games out there that have been getting closer to their console counterpart. Elder Scrolls Blades, for example. I think that's only available on iOS as of right now. But I've been playing it a little bit, and it's definitely not anywhere near the experience of Skyrim that's available on PC or Switch. But it does feel like a mobile Skyrim, and it's fun. It's fun enough. The touchscreen controls are kind of wonky. They are hard to get used to, but it's kind of fun. Same thing with the Call of Duty game. I believe even Mortal Kombat is on mobile, and games on smartphones are getting better over time. Most of them, again, are just same old, but we've seen improvements in their quality over time, so I can obviously see the market that Razer is trying to tap with these controllers. And these aren't the first controllers that we've seen for smartphones, but they do look like probably the best bet for most people, even though they do come at a hefty price tag. But yeah, it's definitely interesting. Razer's been known to really, especially with the Razer phone, they're really trying to tap into that gaming, the mobile gaming market. So seeing them announce something like this isn't really a surprise at all. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's just kind of a confusing thing for me personally. I think mobile gaming is a very casual experience. Seeing different cases or headphones or in this case, controllers, seeing all these different accessories for mobile gaming that you'd have to carry around kind of takes away from the casual, seamless experience that I assume people get from mobile gaming, but that is that. Speaking of mobile versus handheld gaming, it looks like with the Pokemon games coming next month to the Nintendo Switch, Nintendo chief Furuwaka said the company would make more 3DS franchises available on Nintendo Switch to convey the appeal of Switch Lite. So, essentially what's being said here is more 3DS games are bound to come to Nintendo Switch. And I believe it. Just within this year and especially into next year, there are a lot of games that did really well on 3DS that are making their way onto Switch. Fire Emblem being one of them. The Fire Emblem games did really well on 3DS, brought the series back to life in a way. And with the release of Fire Emblem Three Houses, we've seen that the love for the franchise just continues to grow. Pokemon obviously has always been a handheld series, with the main games obviously being an exception. Those have been on consoles, but the main series games, besides the side games have been on consoles, but the main story games have always been on the handhelds. They're finally coming to a console. We're getting a proper console Pokemon game. Next year, we'll see Animal Crossing, which has had life on consoles, on GameCube and Wii, obviously, but still, those have been very handheld-oriented games, especially with the New Leaf being as good as it was. That's now coming to Switch. So, yeah, we're definitely seeing, a rush of 3DS games coming to Switch, and they're doing really, really well. So why stop there? Especially with the Switch Lite, I feel like is the answer to, I have a 3DS, what should I upgrade to? Obviously, the Switch Lite. It's around the same ballpark as far as price goes for the 3DS, and you're getting a much bigger, heftier library of games. A majority of the games on Switch would never release on 3DS, so you're getting a ton of great games like The Witcher and Overwatch, for example. Plus, you're still getting Nintendo's IPs like Animal Crossing, Zelda, Pokemon, so on and so forth. So a Switch Lite is your best bet. It's your best offer. And with Nintendo bringing more 3DS games to the Lite, I definitely see it being Nintendo's next focus on handheld gaming, obviously. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what games we could see on Nintendo Switch from the 3DS. There are definitely some games that I would love to see. Whether they're games that I played a lot on 3DS or games that I just didn't have a chance to play. There are definitely a lot of games that I'd like to see. I think one of them, honestly, would be Kid Icarus Uprising. I had this game on 3DS. I think I ended up beating it, but it was one of the best games on 3DS, and I don't know if it ever really got the full appreciation it deserved. I'd love to see it ported over to Switch. I think it would do really well, especially on Switch. I think it would do crazy well. So I would love to see. Kid Icarus Uprising, or even a new Kid Icarus game. Take the IP and give it a whole new game. I think that'd be really, really cool. As far as other games, I know they're not originally 3DS games, but I would love to see Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask get releases on Switch. Obviously, those were released back on the N64. But still, I'd love remakes or remasters of those games available on Switch. I think that would be a no-brainer for Nintendo. I think that would be an absolute no-brainer. I can't really see too many of the Pokemon games coming to Switch. Obviously, when a Pokemon game comes to the next generation handheld, it comes as a remake. So obviously next up would be Diamond and Pearl would get, their remakes up next, but I can't really see too many of the Pokemon games, or I don't even know if Fire Emblem games would really make a return, or not return, but to make an entrance on Switch. I think Nintendo would focus mostly on newer games in the Fire Emblem franchise. I'm trying to think of what else. Maybe some of the Super Mario games, Super Mario Bros. 2, Super Mario 3D Land. Obviously, we did get Super Mario Bros. U on Switch earlier this year, I believe. So, not a crazy idea. To think that we would get Mario ported over to Switch. I'm trying to think of what else. I'm going through a list of some of the Switch games here, and it's kind of hard for me to think that Nintendo will just straight up port over games from the 3DS. I think there are some games that could work, but I think most of these IPs would be great just as a brand new game. Like I said, like most of these games, I can't see Nintendo actually porting over to Switch. We did get games like what was it? The World Ends With You, I believe, which was originally released on DS. That did just get straight up ported over to Switch. So I'm not saying it's not a possibility, but I think for the most part, we'll probably end up seeing most of these games, mostly of the IPs, I guess, get brought over to Switch. But still, it was kind of a question that that a lot of people have been wondering when the Switch Lite was released. You know, what will happen to 3DS or its library? And I think it's clear that Nintendo wants to push a lot of these IPs over to Switch and find new audiences, bring them back to life in some cases. Tomodachi Life, that would be really fun. I love Tomodachi Life on 3DS. If you liked Animal Crossing, you'll probably like Tomodachi Life. It's one of those simulation type games. That could be fun, just as a straight up sequel or a re-release on, or not re-release on Switch. I think that would be really fun. I liked it. For those that don't know, it was basically you lived on an island and you had an island full of Mii characters. And I think you could add friends in the game, and then their Miis would live on your island. And it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. I'd like to see that on Switch as either a sequel or some sort of remastered version with new content. But yeah, I think it's a no-brainer, especially with how well Switch is doing. The 3DS obviously did really, really well. It can't hurt to bring over some of the most popular IPs from that handheld and just throw them on Switch. There are going to be people who will double dip. So, yeah, Nintendo obviously wants to focus on the handheld portability of the Switch Lite, obviously, it being a portable. And so I think bringing over more 3DS games, I wonder what we would see. I wonder what exactly we would see from the library. But Nintendo's seen great sales on games like Pokemon, Fire Emblem, and those have been traditional handheld games on handhelds like 3DS, Game Boy, etc. And they seem to do really well on even the regular Switch, as it's a console handheld hybrid. So I think really focusing on the handheld portability of the Switch Lite and advertising more handheld-like experiences on the Switch Lite would do really well for Nintendo. So, yeah, I think it's safe to say the 3DS has kind of been dead for a while. There hasn't been a game released on that thing for a while. I think a good year, 2 years now. Like, it's pretty much over. I think I'm pretty sure 3DS is just dead at this point, and that's fine. I think Switch Lite should take over. So I think it's safe to say 3DS is dead. Speaking of the dead, in Luigi's Mansion 3, you can fight the ghosts that haunt a hotel in Luigi's Mansion 3. I've been playing this game for just a little bit, just like a couple hours now. Not very much, but I've had a little bit of the experience with it now, and I wanted to share my very, very, very early impressions on the game. I don't even know how far I really am into the game. I'm not sure how long the game itself is, but I have some playtime invested in the game, and so far, I'm enjoying it. So far, it's a lot of fun. I expected to like it. I expected to have fun with it, and I am. I never finished the first Luigi's Mansion game. I think I borrowed that from a friend on the GameCube, but I don't think I ever finished it. I did play Luigi's Mansion 2 Dark Moon, and I liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and while Nintendo was announcing or whenever they talked about or showcased Luigi's Mansion 3, it always looked like, I don't know, it just seemed really big and ambitious for like a Luigi's Mansion game. Like Luigi, I've been using Luigi. It's so much fun to use. I love using Luigi. You can basically reach hard to get places that Luigi can't get into. And it's just fun to play as him. It's kind of cool. And there's some, you know, mechanics that we've seen in past Luigi's Mansion games. But there's also a lot of like new stuff introduced, and it's just been a lot of fun. It's a really good game, and it looks really good. I've been playing it only on handheld as of right now, and I have to say it's probably one of the better looking games from Nintendo. It looks really good. It runs fantastic. There have been no performance issues or anything like that. It's looked really, really good, and I've been having a blast with it. I would say this is definitely one of those must-get games on Switch. I think by the end of this year, this would definitely be on my list of, must-have Switch games. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm having a blast with it. But yeah, the combat too, like the actual combat with the ghosts, it's really fun. I don't remember actually liking it as much in like past Luigi's Mansion games, and that's obviously been like a big part of it. But I do like some of the. I don't know if there is one thing you can use. I forgot what's called. It's basically you shoot like a. Is it called like a suckle shot or something like that? You basically shoot like a plunger type object at a ghost, and then you can suck that thing back in. You can use it to remove doors that are blocking your way, or if a ghost sucks up a particular item you need, you can shoot this thing to, get objects out of the ghost's gut or whatever. It's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. There's different things like that introduced, as to where it doesn't become, or it doesn't ever feel, too repetitive over time. And so it's been pretty fun. And even the puzzles, I've been enjoying some of the puzzles. Like I said, I've only been playing for a very, 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 very short while, so I'm not that far into the game by any means, but enough to know that I've been really enjoying my time with it, and it's very fitting that's released on Halloween. However, I do kind of wish it was released like last week, or just a little earlier, because by the time you get to it, by the time you get to play it on Halloween, Halloween's almost over now. It does kind of feel weird to release the game on Halloween. You could have had a whole month of really feeling the vibe for the game, but it is what it is. It's out now. It's a lot of fun. The commentary is great. The dialogue is fun. The combat, like the actual, fighting the ghost, is fun. The game looks and runs really well. I've been having a blast. Definitely must-have game. I would highly recommend it. Go pick it up. It's a blast. But if Luigi's Mansion 3 is not your cup of tea, there are a couple games that are out now on Nintendo Switch. I'll go through some of the new releases this week. One of them is Vampire, I think it's Vampire actually. I'm pretty sure it's how it's pronounced, Vampire. It's $49.99 on Nintendo Switch. I've been playing this game on Game Pass, and I kind of like it. It's pretty fun. It looks really great. It runs great, at least on PC, and it's interesting. You basically play as a vampire. I'm not too far into the game, but it's kind of there's some mystery aspect to it, some action, adventure elements to it, and it's been pretty fun. It's $50 on Switch. I think I just seen it on sale on Steam for, I think, like half than that, half than 50 on Steam. Let me actually take a look. I think it's on Steam. Let me actually take a look. Oh, it's even more. It's 66% off. It's $16.99 on Steam. Yeah, it's definitely much more on Switch than other systems, but I can't speak to how it runs or anything like that. But so far, from what I've been playing, at least the story and gameplay has been fun. So it's kind of cool to see the game on Switch now. Also, Disgaea 4 Complete Plus is also $49.99 on Switch. I really wanted to try one of the Disgaea games. I think when the Switch launched, there was I don't know if it was. I don't know which one it was. I think it was Disgaea 5 was on Switch. And I really wanted to give it a shot, but it's kind of one of those big RPGs that I just didn't really want to sit down and play through. So I'll probably skip out on this one as well. But Disgaea 4 Complete Plus is now available on Switch. Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD is also on Switch. This one's $39.99. I was kind of excited when I heard Monkey Ball was coming to Switch. Then I heard it wasn't Monkey Ball 1 and 2. And that's kind of how I feel. I believe this is from the Wii, I believe. I don't remember what this one is. I remember playing Monkey Ball 1 and 2 on GameCube. Some of the most fun I've ever had in a game. Those games are fantastic. I remember spending a lot of time playing 1 and 2. If this was Super Monkey Ball 1 and 2 on Switch, yes, I would buy these, without a doubt. They were a lot of fun in GameCube. I'd love to revisit them. I feel like it's an odd choice picking Banana Blitz, but it is what it is. $40 right now, I think it's a little too much. I'll definitely add it to the wish list and wait till it goes on sale. There's just a ton of other games I'm playing. I just don't have the time or the money to invest in this game right now, but I'll probably pick it up when it goes on sale. I do wish we would see Monkey Ball 1 and 2, though. So, Sega, if you're listening, bring over the proper Monkey Ball games, please. Next up, for $29.99, Disney Classic Games, Aladdin and The Lion King are now available on Nintendo Switch. Kind of a weird release. I've heard a lot of people saying just how hard these games are. So if you're looking for a rough, difficult Dark Souls-like game, Aladdin and The Lion King are now available. $29.99. That seems kind of steep for these games, but I don't know. Maybe they're good. I don't know. Next up, for $29.99 for each, is Resident Evil 5 and Resident Evil 6. We've seen Capcom continue to release Resident Evil games on the Switch. And we now have... Let me actually go into the eShop. Resident Evil. How many Resident Evil games do we have on Switch now? Obviously, we have Resident Evil Revelations and Revelations 2. But we also have Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 5, and Resident Evil 6. So Capcom's just bringing them out. Speaking of Resident Evil, it looks like most of them, all of them except for the new ones, are actually on sale. So Resident Evil 4 is $19.99. Resident Evil is $19.99. Resident Evil 0, $19.99. And then both of the Revelations games are $13.99. And I actually do want to see real quick, because 5 and 6 are $29.99. How does this hold up on Steam? Because I know Resident Evil 4... most of the Resident Evil games are like $10 more. Yeah. Well, it looks like Resident Evil 5 is $19.99 on Steam. It's $29.99 on Switch. Resident Evil 6 is $29.99 on Steam. So that one's actually the same price on Switch as well. But yeah, Resident Evil 5 and 6 are now out. The only thing I really can complain about when it comes to Capcom's releases is price. Usually there's like a $10 increase in price on the Switch compared to PC, PS4, Xbox, whatever. However, the games do go on sale on Switch, bringing them down to the price that they are on other systems. But still, it's kind of, that's the one complaint I have, is that they're just a little too much. The extra $10. Some of these games are like, I feel like a decade plus old, and for $20 or even $30, it's still quite a bit of money, especially when they're much cheaper on other platforms. So that's the only thing I can really complain about when it comes to Capcom's releases. But hey, a lot of people like the Resident Evil games. I'm glad they're available on Switch. If you're looking for something spooky to play, 5 and 6 are available now. And then, of course, Luigi's Mansion 3 for $59.99 is also on Switch. We already talked about that. That came out today. I'm really enjoying the game. I'm really liking it. It's really fun. As to be expected. I was actually, I'll talk about this game again. I know I just did, but like I was saying, like Nintendo, when they were announcing this game, I think, I can't even remember when this game got announced. I think in a direct, like last year maybe, or maybe this year. I don't remember, but whenever they announced it, I don't know. It was kind of hype. Like it was kind of, they really, like, it felt like they went all out with this game. Like there's a lot of really, really cool, features and a lot of cool stuff that they added. And the game's been fun. The game's really, really fun. I've been enjoying my time with it. Obviously, like I said, it's very, very early impressions. I've been playing the game. So I think in next week, after I actually complete the game, or at least get farther in the game, I'll have more to say about it, and I can do an actual proper impressions or review on the game. But as of right now, I can just say that it's fun. I'm enjoying my time with it. It's definitely a Switch must-own as of right now. So that's really, really all I can say. Perfect game to play on Halloween, though. So I'm having a good time with it. Either way, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Of course, any support's appreciated, whether it's a like on the YouTube video or sharing it on platforms. I do appreciate that. Thank you so much. But with that said, that's going to bring us to the end of this week's episode. Thank you once again for tuning in. You all take care and have a good one, and I'll see you in the next one.